We're reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 1. This is an often quoted verse that describes the antarkarana, or the internal causes, for Lord Chaitanya's appearance in this world. And it's a very interesting word in this verse that we see that the Lord also has greed. When we approach transcendence, then there are do's and don'ts, there are good things and bad things. The bad things we have to eliminate, and the good things we have to assimilate. We have to assimilate good qualities, achar, sadachar, the behavior of a sadhu, and we have to eliminate the bad things. Elimination and assimilation. Elimination and acceptance makes progress. Vaishnava says that asat sangatyaga e Vaishnavachara, that the achara, the Vaishnavachara, the behavior of Vaishnava is that he gives up association with that which is temporary. Asat sangatyag. Tyag means he rejects. He leaves behind. He rejects that to accept new association. He leaves his Mayak friends to accept his Krishna friends, his friends colony. He leaves his old friends colony and he moves into new friends colony. I remember once when I was a child, there was a popular rock group or a singing group, and they said old friends like bookends. The name of the album is called Bookends by Simon and Paul or something. It was like poet type people. Old friends are like bookends. They're always there. But these things that hold books up are bookends kind of things. So these new friends are the Krishna friends, which will point us towards Krishna. And the old friends, they'll take us away from Krishna. So there, when we come in this line of transcendence, then we hear that Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Matsarya, these are bad things. These are impediments and obstacles, anarthas, or anart, as you say in Hindi, anart. They are unart. They are against our value. They are against our goodwill. They are against us. They are in opposition to us. They are our enemies. Lust, anger, greed, envy. Kam, Krodh, Lobh. Trividam narakashiram. Krishna says, Trividam narakashiram. He says, Dwaram not. He said there's 3 gates leading to hell: Kam, Krodh, Lobh, lust, anger, and greed. So this word is there, Lobh, or Lobha. We know about greed. We want so many things. More. More clothes, more money, more jewelry, more houses, more food, more everything. So this is, we consider that greed is a bad thing. But then when we hear about the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or the descent of the Lord into this world, the very word that's used here in this verse, which is recorded here, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila chapter 1 verse 6, the very word is lobat, lob, that because of greed, the Lord has come to this world because He's greedy. He also has greed. We are stuck in this world and rotating in the samsara, in the wheel of samsara chakra, because of greed, material greed. But then when we look at God, who is supposed to be above all the bad things, He's supposed to be the repository of goodness and purity, sweetness, love, beauty, and charm. This is how our Sridhar Maharaj used to say. He said, Krishna is the embodiment of sweetness, beauty, love, and charm. Therefore, He's Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. And why? Because of these things. He's charming, He's beautiful, He's sweet and beautiful. So, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's described here as being, he has greed, and he had not only one kind of greed, but three kinds of greed. Sometimes people are greedy for money, and they're greedy for position, and they're greedy for fame. It's similar, position of fame, I guess, similar. Or they have greed for money and greed for so many things. Unlimited types of greed. But here there's three categories of greed, so we'll hear about that, which is quite a peculiar thing. A very amazing thing. Chamatkara vichar. Chamatkara vichar. So what would we call that? Astounding consideration. Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanayeva Swadyo Yenadbhuta Madhurima Kidrisho Va Madhya Sokyam Chasyad Madanubhavata Kidrisham Veti Lobat Tadbhava Dya Samajani Shachigarva Sindo Harindu. Desiring, Loba means desire, but it really means intense desire, means greed. Greedy or desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, and greedy and desiring to understand the wonderful qualities in him that Radharani alone relishes through her love, and greedy to understand and experience the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love. The Supreme Lord Hari, endowed with her emotions, appeared from the womb of Srimati Shachi Devi as the moon appeared from the ocean. Hari Indu. Indu means a ray of moonlight. It's called an Indu. We have one Sakhi, one of the Ashta Sakhis is called Induleka. She's like a line of the moon. She's very whitish. Her complexion is whitish gold. Golden, but like the moon. Golden moon. So, Shachi Garba Sindo Harindu, Samajani. He took birth. So with her bhav, tadbhava adya, beginning with her richly endowed adya and bhava, with Radha bhav. So Krishna took Radha bhav. So this verse is explaining how this verse is expressing the different types of greed that the Lord had. And these are the internal reasons. There's the bahir karana and antar karana. The external causes or external reasons. Externally, why did Krishna come? Why does any avatar come or descend to this world? And that's explained in Gita. And that's very common, famous verses. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhitanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. And it says, the next verse is about the sadhus. To paritranaya saranam vinashaya chudiskrisham dharma samstarpanartaya sambhavami juge juge. Yuga after yuga, time after time, millennium after millennium, the Supreme Lord comes, Dasavatar, as Nrsimha, Matsya, Buddha, Ram, or Buddha, Ram. All the different avatars, he descends into this world, Parasaram, and he comes to protect the devotees and to annihilate the miscreants and to re-establish the principles of religion. Dharmasya glani. Glani means break, severing or breaking. The Dharma becomes yada yada hi dharmasya. Dharmasya glani, or so dharmasya glani. When Dharma becomes upset or upturned or neglected or destroyed or diluted to an abominable state, then the Lord comes to put it back on track. So that's external reason. For example, sometimes we go on vacation, or we say, "Oh, you're going for work?" Say, "This is work come vacation." So I had to go to Las Vegas because I'm installing some restaurant equipment there, in a new restaurant. But as long as I'm there, the company's paying for my stay there for 3 days, and my work is only half a day. So the other 2 days I'll play. So there's work come play. So this is an external reason. I'm going for business. Internal reason is, that's none of your business. They won't tell you what they do over there. Certainly they won't tell their wife. So the Lord Himself, He has His agenda, His state work and His private work. So His state work is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, and His private work is stated here on Chaitanya Charitamrita. Because this is the graduate study of theology, where we find out about the heart of the Lord, the mind of the Lord, and the external activities of the Lord. What makes Him move? That Bhagavad Gita will tell us. But what the feelings of the Lord are, what makes Him feel, and how does He feel? That's revealed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and also in 10th Canto Bhagavatam. So here it's told that Krishna is mystified by the magic of Radharani's love. Her love is too much attractive. It's to the state where he becomes totally amazed, and he wants to understand it, but he can't understand it. Really, you can't understand a person's heart unless you're that person. And sometimes they say in psychology, when they're trying to help people understand each other, they say, you should put yourself in the other person's shoes. They have this phrase in English. Yeah. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. In other words, try to understand how are they thinking, or how are they feeling, not only calculating things from your viewpoint, but how does my wife feel about this situation, and what would she respond to this, and would she like this or not like this? It's like this. This is a thoughtful person. A broad-hearted person will try to accommodate many people and many viewpoints within his heart to peacefully progress in the world with others, world of relations. So this is approximately, you can do that, but you can't. The best way to do it is if you became the other person. You became one with their heart and mind. You enter deeply, if you actually could enter into their heart and into their mind. And that can only be done if you became them. So that's what Krishna was forced to do. Because after Krishna Leela was finished, then, of course, these Leelas are eternal, but it's described like that. He left, he was unfulfilled. He felt some greed in his heart. Although there was rasa dance and so many pastimes, he felt some greed that something's missing, what is this Sri Radha Pranaya Mahima? This is Kidrisha. Kidrisha means what kind? What is this pranaya, this love? Pranaya means a type of love. Sneha, man, pranaya, rag, anurag, bhav, mahabhav. These are different hierarchy of prema, different expressions, different intensities, different feelings and aspects of the loving relationship between Krishna and his devotees. And Radharani, what is the mahima? What are the glories? What are the greatness? It's so great. Her pranaya, her love is so great. And it's in so many different varieties. It says, Kidrisha, what is this? So it's explained here that Krishna is thinking, what is Radharani's love? What is her love, and how can I understand it? I have a greed. I have a greed. This is also a type of greed for knowledge. Like people read every single book that comes out, and they're bookworms, and they're just so greedy. They have greed for knowledge. That's also a type of greed. And of course that gives them prestige also, and gives them position and also authority and so many things. So Krishna, this is one of his greed, is what is Radharani's love? This mahima, what is the greatness, the glory of Radharani's love? Then that's the first greed that Krishna had. He was feeling unfulfilled and he wanted to understand it. And the second one is listed here, Adbhuta Madhurima, Swadyo Yen Adbhuta Madhurima. Adbhuta means astounding or amazing or wonderful. And then Madhurima means Madhuri, sweetness. Madhur. When Rupa Goswami is distinguishing Krishna from Ram or Narayan, he explains that Narayan and Krishna and all the other forms of Godhead, the Bhagavan Tattva or the Vishnu Tattva, they have 60 qualities, an unlimited quantity of those qualities, and they list those qualities. But then there are 4 more qualities that only Krishna has. And you could say the other ones may have them, but they're hidden, not revealed. So the full expression of Godhead, it's called Purnatam, or Purna Bhagavan, complete Bhagavan, or Swayam Bhagavan is Krishna. So he has these 4 qualities which distinguish him and make him the supreme. Because if he's more than Ram and more than Narayan and Vishnu and Nrsimha, then what is he? Why is he more? Because he's one in Tattva, but he's something different in Ras. And he's something different in these categories also, in these gunas. He's different in Ras and different in Gun. So these 4 lakshanas, these Vishesh Gun he has. One is Rupa Madhuri, such an astoundingly attractive form. Ram is very attractive, no doubt, but not as attractive. And Vishnu is very attractive, but not as attractive as Krishna. Even Lakshmi leaves Narayan to try to attain Krishna. So Krishna is Rupa Madhuri. And then is Venu Madhuri, his sweetness of his flute. It attracts all the living entities. But Ram is only playing a bowstring. And he's not playing bass fiddle. But he's playing a shanga or danu. Danu or shanga means bow. He's twanging, twang. Yeah. So it's not a guitar. It's not a guitar or a sitar. Guitar or sitar or a tambura. It's an instrument of destruction, not an instrument of construction. Because music is constructive. It builds themes and ragas and raganis and creates emotions and feelings. It's creative and it's pleasurable. But to feel the sting of an arrow in your back or in your heart is not very pleasurable. So there's no Venu Madhuri with Ram. And then the next thing is this Prema Madhuri, the sweetness of Krishna's love. He loves everyone. He takes on all comers. Anyone who comes to him, they get prema. Or they get liberated. He doesn't leave anyone lying in the street, or doesn't leave noses on the ground or ears on the ground. But if you come to Ram and your name is Shupurnaka and your brother's name is Ravana or Ravan, and you propose to Ram, you end up losing your ears. It's one thing falling heads and heels in love with somebody. They have a phrase like that. If he fell in love heads and heels, head over heels, head over heels. And that's okay, it's a figurative expression. But Shupurnaka, she fell in love with Ram, and she lost her ears. She got her ears cut off by Lakshman, and her nose. Of course, she was trying to eat Sita also. You have to mention that. But nevertheless, when anyone approached, what about, of course, Ram, he couldn't really satisfy her because he was limited by his brat. His love is limited, so his love cannot be prema madhuri. It's not very sweet love, was rather bitter. There's no sweetness for Supurnika. A rather bitter experience when she interacted with Ram. But Ram nevertheless said, listen, I'll bless you when I come as Krishna, then I can give you sweetness. So then Shupurnika came again and appeared in Mathura as Kubja. Kubja was a sandalwood, sandalwood person. She was preparing the sandalwood paste for Kamsa. And she was hunchbacked. And Krishna went there and straightened her out and then satisfied her. And so shared his love with her and gave her the sweetness of his love. So Krishna, he interacts with everyone, experiences the sweetness of Krishna's love. So he's specialized by his Prema Madhuri. And then finally his Leela Madhuri. The fourth thing is, his fourth special quality, Vishesh Gun, is the sweetness of his pastimes. There is no Julan Leela for Ram. There is no Ras Leela for Ram. There's no Holy Leela for Ram. There's none of these kind of sweet pastimes are there with Ram. Jal Keli, very official. It's all he's a royalty. He's royalty. He's not a coward boy. He's not running behind cows. He's riding in golden chariots. And he's not wearing a pitambara dhoti and a peacock feather. He's wearing royal epaulets and mostly costly gold and fancy silk clothes. And he's like quite buttoned up tight. He's not loose. So Krishna's Leela is too much attractive and sweet. Ram's Leela is, he's a man of justice. He's a man of justice and law and order. So this is Krishna. Nevertheless, so he wanted to know what is, so this second thing is Swadyo Yenadbhuta Madhurima. He wanted to understand the wonderful sweet qualities in him that Radharani relishes, that she tastes. And that's also mentioned in this Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Adi Leela, chapter 4, there's a nice reference, verse 139. This book is really quite wonderful, Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's further elaboration on this same verse. Where Krishna is saying, he's speaking here, further elaboration. That was in the beginning of the chapter, and then later the verses are more elaborated. Vishaya Jatiya Sukha Amara Aswad Amahaite Koti Gun Ashrayar Alad. Like Prahlad, Alad. Krishna is saying, I taste the bliss to which the object of love is entitled, but the pleasure of Radha, the abode of that love, is 10 million times greater. So Krishna is saying, I'm the enjoyer, and Radha is the enjoyed. I'm the Vishai, the subject, and Radharani is the object. She's the Ashray. I'm Prem Vishai, and she's Prem Ashray. So she is trying to do everything to please me and satisfy me, and not considering anything for herself. But I am observing that the pleasure that she's deriving by the alad, or by just dedicating herself to me absolutely and unequivocally, she's actually deriving 10 million times greater pleasure. So what Krishna is saying here is that the servant of the Lord, that the one who's serving the Lord, he's getting 10 million times more pleasure than the recipient of the service. This is quite astounding. If you ask the slaves in in America during the slave, when they're rowing the boat, are you getting 10 million times more pleasure than the captain who's whipping you with his whip? In the Greek days, these guys slaves would be under the hold of the boat, rowing the boat or something. Oh yes, I feel like I'm getting 10 million times. No, the Krishna is saying this, and then he says, Ashraya Jatiya Sukha Payate Manadhai Jatne Ashwadite Nari Kikari Upai. He's saying, Krishna is saying, my mind races to taste the pleasure experienced by the ashray, the abode of love. But I cannot taste it, even by my best efforts. How may I taste it? It's like I see that you're eating some ice cream. So Krishna is telling that my mind, I see that Radharani, I see you eating all this ice cream, and you're saying, and I'm thinking, my mind is thinking, oh, it seems like you're having a good time. You're enjoying that ice cream. So my mind has become attracted, and my mind is racing. Oh, how are you experiencing that ice cream? But how can I taste it? I can't taste it. My mind is thinking and understanding and appreciating what experience you're having from tasting that ice cream. And I'm also very interested. But how can I taste it? Unless I become you and eat that ice cream, how can I taste it? Kabu jadi jay premara haye ashray tabe a premanandar anubhavahai. If I sometime, kabu means you say kabi, and kabi, so they say kabu. If I can, kabi, or sometime, if I can be the abode of that love, only then I may taste it. So So this is what this verse is saying, these three reasons why Krishna came. Eta chinti rahe Krishna parama kotuki, hridaye bhadaya prema loba daka daki. Ducky. That sounds pretty ducky. Daka means davanala. It comes from this davana, means blazing. Thinking in this way, Eta Chinti, Krishna was curious to taste Radha's love. His eager desire. Kotuki. Parama Kotuki. Kotuki, supremely curious. Prema Lob. His eager desire for that love increasingly blazed in his heart. Prema Lob Dakadaki. Ducky. Ducky. That's the word. Ducky. Interesting. So that's blazing. So this is Lob. His heart was full of greed for Radharani to understand. What is the Radha Pranaya Mahima? What is the? I'm greedy. Krishna's greedy to understand the glory of Radharani's love, and then he's greedy to relish the Madhurima, the Adbhuta Madhurima. That is one desire. Now hear of another, and this is what I was speaking about. Eka shuna ara lobera prakar samadhurya deki Krishna karena vichar. Now hear of another desire, which is this one I'm discussing, Adbhuta Madhurima, the Krishna's own sweetness. Seeing his own beauty, Krishna began to consider. Then there's the pastime, and it's explained that this is once when Krishna was in Dwarka. In Dwarka, there's many very they're beautiful little. Inside the middle of the room, there's little pools, a little like waterfall or some little water collected in a little pool in the middle of the room, cooling the room in the ancient palaces. And one day Krishna was sitting there, and there were some lotuses in that pool, and then there was a skylight above it, so light would come in, and very beautiful, fancy designs. Vishvakarma, the architect of the demigods, designed the place, so he knows what he's doing. It's all according to Vastu, and worked out on the computer ahead of time. So Krishna's sitting there by this pool, and is admiring the beauty of the lotus, of course, that she created. And then he looked into the water, and in the reflection of the water, he saw this beautiful blue person, an extraordinary blue complexion and lotus eyes rivaling the lotus flower growing in that pool, and beautiful pearly white teeth. And he said, "Oh, who is this? So, who is this person? I'm very attracted to this person. I would like to meet this person. How? I wonder who is this person?" And then Rukmini came and saw Krishna was looking at it and himself, and even talking. He was so enamored and so bewitched that he started talking to this person in the water, and she was curiously watching. And she said, "Oh my Pranavallabha. Oh my Pranavallabha. Oh Dwarkadish. Who are you speaking to? What? Oh!" And he came out of his reverie and said, "Oh, I saw this beautiful man in the water, and I was so attracted." So Krishna is even attracted to, he's all attractive, even he attracts himself. He's not a narcissist either. There's something called narcissism, isn't it? Where someone is like absorbed in their own beauty. They just look in the mirror all day long.
Right.
It's called narcissist. Okay. I haven't said the word in probably 20 years. But it's not. You can't accuse Krishna of being this either, because the nature of Krishna's beauty, because he's transcendental, it actually is changing every minute. And he's always newer and newer. It's called Nava Yovanam. At every second, at every minute, his beauty increases and becomes more attractive and more sweet and more charming and more beautiful. So maybe he looked in the mirror before he went out walking around the palace, and he combed his hair, and he said, "Oh, there I am. I'm pretty. I'm beautiful." Then he left. So he wasn't much paying attention. Then when he looked in the water, that's a few minutes had gone by. Now he has a new feature, and the water became a mirror. But then he didn't realize it was him, because he didn't recognize. Who is this? I don't recognize you. So now that leads us to this next verse. Adbhuta ananta purna mora madhurima tri jagate ihar kaya nahi paya simha. Krishna is telling, my sweetness is wonderful, infinite and full. No one in the three worlds can find its limit. E prema dware nitya radhika ekali amara madhuri yamrita ashwade sakali. Only Radhika, by the strength of her love, tastes all the nectar of my sweetness. So this is the second reason, or second form of spiritual greed, that Krishna became greedy to understand what is this, understand the wonderful, sweet qualities in him that Radharani is tasting. So he was thinking, as it's mentioned here, what is my beauty? And then it's explained in another place in this Chaitanya Charitamrita that Krishna, his beauty excels crores of cupids. He's described in Sanskrit as Navina Madan. Navina Madan means Navin, and same as, it's interesting how so many words in Sanskrit are very much like English, because it's the mother of all languages, Indo-European language they say. So Navina means new. Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara Vibhavari Shesha. In the morning they have this Mangalarti song they sing in Vrindavan temple. Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara. Navina Nirada. He's like a new cloud. And his form is Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara. Krishna's form is like a new rain cloud. Navina means new and Nirada means rain cloud. And it's Rupa Manohara. That form steals the mind. Manohar. It takes away the mind from anything else. Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara. That song in the morning is very beautiful. Navina Madan, he's a transcendental Cupid. So seeing Krishna's beauty is always new and fresh. So he's thinking, as is mentioned here, how can he see his own beauty? The only way you can see your own beauty is how? Look in the mirror. Exactly. But when you look in the mirror, in the darpan, you're seeing pratibimba. You're seeing Saundarya pratibimba. Pratibimba means reflection. You're seeing a reflection of your Saundarya, or Sundari. We say Sundari. Gopis are called Sundari, they're very beautiful. Braj, they say Braj Sundari, right? Braj Sundari, the beautiful girls of Braj. Sundari. Sometimes they just call it Gopi Sundari, Braj Sundari. Beautiful, they're so beautiful. But when we see that, we see our beauty in the mirror, we're only seeing a reflection. So what they explained here, that the only way to see, for Krishna, the only way for him to see his beauty is he has to have the heart of Radharani. Because the beauty of Krishna is really seen in the Prema Darpan. The Prema Darpan is the heart of Radharani. Because we have a phrase, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but actually phrase is not correct. Beauty is in the heart of the beholder. Because the man, because his heart is so much enmeshed or entwined with his wife, generally, he thinks his wife is very beautiful. And because in his heart, he has the heart of Prem Darpan, and he has love for her in the heart. So when he sees, oh, she's very beautiful. But other men, more objective viewpoint, they may look and say, oh, she's not beautiful. She's not pretty. No, she's the most beautiful girl. So this is Radharani's, her heart. Her heart is full of prem. This Ujjvala prem, this purest Kevala prem for Krishna is in her heart. So she sees Krishna, she appreciates and sees Krishna's beauty like no one else can. Like no one else. So only Krishna's beauty is wrote here, that the mirror of pure love. The mirror of pure love is the mirror in which Krishna can see his own form. So Krishna can see himself in the mirror of pure love. So that's why it's told, we say, Lord Chaitanya taught us, Chaito Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahadavagni Nivapanam, Chaito Darpana Marjanam, that when the Chit Darpan, the mirror of the heart, Chit means heart or consciousness, when that becomes cleansed, Marjan, it becomes cleansed by chanting and serving and surrendering to Krishna, serving Krishna and chanting his name and surrendering to him. Then when that chit becomes pure, the mirror of our heart becomes pure. Pure means it becomes full of love, becomes full of prem. And when our heart is full of prem, then we can see Krishna. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. So this is, I suppose that's from Brahma Samhita. Right? That's one Shloka Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santak Sadai Vridyesha Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Guna Surupam Govinda Maripurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Lochan, he's saying Premanjana Lochan. The Lochan means the eye. And when it has Anjan, Anjan means like ointment. The ointment, the Anjan of Prem, then you can see Krishna. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santak Sadai Vridyesha. Then you can see Krishna in the heart. Santak Sadaiva Hridaya. So in the heart, when the heart is full of prem, then in that mirror of the heart, that Chit Darpan, in the mirror of the heart, which is full of prem, Krishna can see himself there, and we can see ourselves, our soul, and we can see Krishna. So that is Radharani's heart, is that prem Darpan. So Krishna he has to, it says, that's another verse here, it says, verse 140 in chapter 4. Yadyapi nirmala radara sat prema darpan tatapi swachata tara bade shane shan. Although Radha's love is pure like a mirror, its purity increases at every moment. Sat prema darpan, nirmal, swachata. So this is very nice. This is the second reason why Krishna took the form of Radharani. These are the internal reasons why Krishna came as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Why did Gauranga Mahaprabhu descend to this world? So these are the internal reasons. It's all about love. It's all about greed. Greed for love. And so Lord Chaitanya he's a very greedy person. Krishna comes and greedy for Radharani's love. So this is the heart of the pure devotee or Premi Bhakta is a mirror in which Krishna sees his own form. And the best mirror is the heart of Srimati Radharani. So we are aspiring, we are trying to become servants of Radharani, Radhadasyam. Das, 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 anudas. Gopi Bhartu, Parakamalayur, das, das, anudas. Das, 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 anudas. So that really means we're saying das, but actually it should be feminine gender, dasi. Because Gopi Bhartu means the Lord or Master of the Gopis. It's the das, so the servant of the Master of the Gopis. So the Master of the Gopis is Gopinath, and the servant of Gopinath is Radharani, and the servant of Radharani is Lalita, and the servant of Lalita is Rupa Manjari, and the servant of Rupa Manjari is Rati Manjari, and the servant of Rati Manjari is Guru Parampara, Evam Parampara Praptam, Guru Saki Parampara. So our Guru Maharaj, he's a Saki Manjari, and then our Param Guru is this Nayana Mani Manjari, Bhaktisanta Saraswati. Then our Paratara Guru is Guna Manjari, Gorakishore Das Babaji. And then his Shiksha Guru or Manjari is Kamala Manjari, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And then it goes like this. So this really is Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur, Dasi, Dasi, Anudasi. Become a maidservant, the maidservant, the maidservant, the maidservant, or sometimes they say handmaiden. You'll see this, the servants of the queen are called handmaidens. They wait on the queen with hand and foot. So sometimes it says maidservant or handmaiden. In technical terms, there are 5 types of sakis, and one is called they're called pran saki or nitya saki, and they're also called manjari. There's a fool, there's a flower, and then there's a manjari. Before it opens up to a flower, it's a flower bud. Yeah. And that flower bud is a manjari. So they're a little bit less, almost about to be a flower, but not quite a flower. They're supportive, or they're next stage down. So this is our goal is the service of Radharani, because who can serve Krishna? No one can serve Krishna but Radharani. She's the best servant. So if we want to please Krishna, then we should please the devotees of Krishna. So Radharani is the greatest devotee, so we try to please her. So what's the third reason? The third reason is that Krishna, he had a desire, he was greedy to understand the happiness, the sokyam, the happiness and the pleasure that Radharani feels by relishing my beauty. How can I know it? We're discussing the 3 internal reasons why Krishna appeared, this antarkarana, the internal reasons why Krishna came as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And the verse we were discussing is first chapter, 6th verse of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. and then it says Sri Radha Pranaya Mahima. That Krishna, he actually became greedy. Like we were saying, greed is a bad thing. Or greedy for money, or greedy for fame, or greedy to eat, or any kind of greed, kam, krodh, lobh. These are impediments, and they keep us in the material world. So we find when we see Krishna himself, even he's operating out of greed. It's lobha. He becomes greedy, and he wants to know. There's three reasons. He has three types of greed. One is that he wants to understand the glories of Radharani's love. What is her love? How can I understand it? And the other greed he has is he wants to understand the wonderful his own sweetness. That somehow Radharani is relishing my sweetness. Adbhuta madhurima. Adbhuta madhurima. That it's amazing. My sweetness is astonishing, and she's tasting it. And I want to understand what is my beauty. How is she tasting it? And the third thing is, which we're discussing now, is Sokyam Anubhav. He wants to understand the happiness that Radharani feels when she's relishing Krishna's beauty. Like someone may see something beautiful, a beautiful person, and when they see that beautiful object, then they creates a feeling in their heart. Oh, the person's so beautiful. I feel so attracted. I feel so happy. And then, so Krishna's thinking, well, what is that happiness? That Sokyam. What is that happiness that she feels when she's tasting my beauty? So this is the third desire. So these three desires, these are the three desires that Krishna had to fulfill. So to fulfill those desires, he took the form of Lord Chaitanya, and he absorbed himself in Radha Bhav, the mellow, the mood of Radharani. So this third desire, he wants to understand what is the happiness and pleasure that Radharani feels by relishing my beauty. How can I know it? So this is this most significant verse. This verse is actually spoken by Dhira Damodara Goswami. And Dhira Damodara Goswami is Lalita Sakhi in Krishna Lila. So Lalita, is describing Krishna's greed. And then this is further related in Adi Lila, chapter 4, in these verses from 120 to 150. So now he's talking about this sweetness. Krishna is talking about his sweetness. This is all the second reason, this repeating. It's very nice verses. Amara madhurya nahi badite avakash darpanera age nava nava rupe base. My sweetness has no room for expansion, yet it shines before the mirror of Radharani's love and newer beauty. It's called Prem Darpan, the mirror of her prem. Her heart is so much full of love for Krishna that his beauty is all reflected in her heart. Man madhurya radhara prem donhai hodakari shane shane bhare done keha nahi hari. There is constant competition between my sweetness and the mirror of Radha's love. They both go on increasing, but neither knows defeat. Amara madhurya nitya nava navahai swa swa prema anurupa bhakti ashwadhai. My sweetness is always newer and newer. Devotees taste it according to their own respective love. So this is a fact. This sweetness of Krishna is Lila Madhurya, Prema Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya, and Venu Madhurya. As we increase our attachment to Krishna, and we increase our affection or love, you can say puppy love or primordial love or whatever you want to call it, we experience some sweetness. Our mind, we get a few drops of sweetness. It's called experiential religion. This is religion of experience. It's not religion of dogma or religion of rhetoric. It's a religion of experience. Sometimes they have books like that in philosophy when I was in college, religious experiences. And Krishna himself guarantees that. He says that in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Pratyaksha bhagavam dharmyam susukam kartamaviyam rajavidya rajaguyam pavitram paramam bhavan. He's explaining in 9th chapter Gita, first verse, Rajavidya Rajaguyam. He says, Pratyaksha Bhagavam Dharmyam. This dharma is Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha Bhagavam Dharmyam. Religion of experience. So as Krishna himself is saying that my sweetness is newer and newer, Devotees, he's saying devotees, Anurupa Bhakta Aswadai. According to one's own love, Swa Prem Anurup Bhakti Aswadhai. So love is something that grows, and as we hear in the description of prema in the spiritual world, there's no limit. There's no end of the love. Here, our material love, so-called loves and relationships, they become dry or stayed or stagnant or hackneyed after a very short time. And they don't usually reveal themselves in newer features. It becomes the same old. Déjà vu. In French they say déjà vu. I've seen it all again, and I'm seeing it again and again. We had an experience ourselves that after being married for a few years, then we felt that this is so dry, so mechanical, and so it just didn't really satisfy very much. So Krishna is telling that devotees will taste it. And now Krishna is saying, Darpan adye deki jari apan maduri ashwadite haya lob ashwadite nari.
No, he's going through every verse.
Oh. Okay. He's saying, if I see my sweetness in a mirror, I am tempted to taste it, but nevertheless I cannot. So we were discussing that before you were here. That someone might say, well, Krishna is saying, Adbhuta Madhurima, that my sweetness is amazing and my beauty is so attractive. But if I look in a mirror, I only see pratibimba. I see a reflection of my beauty. I don't really see my beauty. I can't see my beauty. Beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. So in the eyes of someone else, they're seeing my beauty. They're actually relishing my beauty as it is. And if that person's eyes are backed by a heart full of love, so that's prema darpan. So we said the Radharani's heart, or the heart of the Premi Bhakta, the heart of the Premi Bhakta is a proper mirror to see the beauty of Krishna. So in the heart of Radharani, she relishes and sees the beauty of Krishna fully. So for Krishna to actually see his own beauty, he has to attain the heart of Radharani. To attain the heart of Radharani, he must become Radharani. So therefore he becomes Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Lahayanya. So Lord Chaitanya, is none other than Radha Krishna. So Krishna is telling this. I see my sweetness in the mirror, and it looks so sweet. I want to taste it, but it's only a reflection. If you hold up some ice cream, and then you see the reflection in the mirror. Well, that looks good. And then you go to the mirror, and you lick the mirror. Well, nothing will happen. You'll just get some dust on your tongue from the dusty mirror. You're not going to get the sweet taste of raspberry pecan or whatever, whatever mix-up they have over there. You're not going to get that luscious taste. So he's saying, I'm tempted, but nevertheless I cannot. Vichar kariye jari ashwad upai radhika surup haite tabe manadai. If I deliberate on a way to taste it, I find that I hanker for the position of Radhika. So this is the internal churning of Krishna's heart after he left this world 5,000 years ago at the beginning, at the end of Dwapara Yuga. Then he returned to Golok, and he was thinking, but I'm greedy. I have this greed. The Radharani's, her sweetness, her love is so astounding. The greatness of her pranaya, Radha Pranaya Mahima, and then the sweetness in me, how she tastes that sweetness, and then what happiness what is she tasting, and then what happiness she is experiencing. What is that ice cream, and then what happiness does someone experience by tasting it? So what is my beauty, and what is it, the adbhuta madhurima of my beauty, the astounding sweetness, and then what sukha or happiness she feels by tasting it. I hanker for that. So the only way I can satisfy my greed or fulfill my greed is to become Radha. To take Radha's bhav and her kanti and her bhav, her color and her form and her heart, and come down to this world and experience what it means to be a devotee, to be the ashray of prem, the shelter of prem. So Prabhupada says, beautiful purport. You can see imagine how much Prabhupada is relishing, because he's one of these premi bhaktas whose mirror of his heart is reflecting the form of Krishna at every moment. So he's writing this purport, a beautiful purport. Krishna's attractiveness is wonderful and unlimited. So it's one thing to write words to describe something, but it's another thing to realize those words. He's dictating. Krishna's attractiveness is wonderful. and unlimited. It's like if you ask some husband, please describe your wife. Someone else can also describe the wife. Oh, she's like this or that. But when the husband describes, it's something different. Because of the intimacy, because of the connection, because of the relationship, because of the surrender, because of the tight connection of love. Srimati Radharani alone can relish such extensiveness from her position in the ashraya category. That means the shelter of love. The mirror of Srimati Radharani's transcendental love is perfectly clear. Cheto Darpanam Marjanam. Yet it appears clearer and clearest in the transcendental method of understanding Krishna. In the mirror of Radharani's heart, the transcendental features of Krishna appear increasingly new and fresh. In other words, the attraction of Krishna increases in proportion to the understanding of Srimati Radharani. Each tries to supersede the other. Neither wants to be defeated in increasing the intensity of love. Desiring to understand Radharani's attitude of increasing love, Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, this is all going on about this second reason. There's so many verses that go on just to describe the second reason. I've already described the third reason. Then after that, he describes there's just a beautiful description in Adi Leela chapter 4 about love. What is actual love? And it counters that with the Kam. There's Kam and Prem. Kam is like iron, and Krishna Prem is like gold. So this discussion is given here. One can read Adi Leela chapter 4 and over again, because you'll find out about what is the nature of love, Radharani's love, because this is a perfectional form of spiritual love. We say divine love or love divine. Love divine takes a form, takes a shape, as Srimati Radharani, and then it has expression, not only form but expression. Love is one thing, but it's measured by its expression, not by its container, but how its love may take shape in a container, but then how does it express itself? Like you may have some form of some machine, some mixie, but then it expresses itself. Oh, it does this and it does that, and it cuts and it chops and it blends and it mixes. It's a kitchen. It's a magic kitchen or whatever they call the thing. The genie in the kitchen. So it expresses itself. So love has a form, Radharani, and then the expression of that love is detailed and delineated in Adi Leela chapter 4. So it's great nourishment for the heart. So, is there some questions? Any questions?
It's a bit confusing when you see that Krishna wants to taste Radharani's love for him from Radharani's point of view, and to taste his own sweetness in himself that Radharani relishes. So he becomes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is half Radharani and half himself also.
Yeah. Well, he's Krishna. Gauranga Mahaprabhu is Krishna in Radha Bhav. He's in the Bhav of Radharani, trying to, and because you see that, especially when he takes sannyas, after he takes, and when he's in, I mean that split personality or whatever you want to say, those dual identities. When Gauranga Mahaprabhu is in Mayapur, before he takes sannyas, the first 24 years of his life, he's in the Ishvara Bhav. He's in the Bhav of being Ishvara, of Krishna, Bhagavan. And he's the arrogant scholar and the boy genius, and defeating Kashmiri Pandit at the age of 8. And so many great, and he had his Sanskrit school and his toll on the bank of the Ganga, and he would push everybody in the water and challenge everyone and defeat them in philosophy. And then after he took sannyas, then he entered this whole mood of Radhabhav, separation. And where is Krishna? Where is Krishna Kahan? Krishna Kahan? Krishna, 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 hey! So this is always, so then that's fully in Radhabhav. So these two personalities were expressed, but the main purpose of his coming was to experience the Radhabhav aspect, not the Krishna aspect. So his color is Radharani's Kanti. So he has a form, a male form, Krishna's male form, but he has the Kanti, he has the color of Radharani, Tapta Kanti, Gauranga. And then he has the heart, he has the body of Radharani, the color of Radharani, and the bhava of Radharani, the heart of Radharani. And he's trying to relish now that he is. So it's almost like possessed. Some ghost possesses you, and he lives through your body and experiences through your body, and eats through your body. Sometimes people are ghostly haunted and they eat like anything, because that ghost in his last life somehow he didn't get enough to eat. So then he comes in your body and he pushes you to eat. So you eat and you eat and you eat and you eat, and you can't even understand why you're eating, because the ghost is pushing you and enjoying through your body while he possesses you. All kinds of crazy, phenomenal things that go on in this subtle reality when these things are factual. So it's something like that, but not exactly like that. And Krishna is there as a witness, or he's directly experiencing. He's become like Radharani in one sense, and Radharani is only his expansion anyway. So it's Krishna tasting himself, as you said. But he wants to know what that is. And that's why we read this verse. It said that the ashraya, the enjoyed, Radharani's the enjoyed, and Krishna's the enjoyer. And Krishna's noticing, which we heard when he's revealing his mind here in the pages here. He's saying, I see that the premashraya, the abode of prem, or the shelter of prem, she's, by serving me and offering herself completely for my pleasure without any concern for her own happiness for 1 second, I see that she's actually relishing a happiness millions of times more than I am. This is described here. Krishna's in his own words. He's saying it's very clear that by being my servant, by being a devout Krishna Das or Krishna Dasi, she's relishing a million times more happiness than I am by enjoying her and by taking all the service from her. And it's almost like, the closest thing we have to it in this world is the happiness, traditional, let's say, quote unquote, the happiness a traditional Indian housewife feels by cooking and serving her guests. She cooks so much food all the afternoon, all morning, all night, the night before, the early morning, all day, and they come, and then she serves them out, and they eat everything. It's so good, they eat everything, and then they leave, and there's nothing, and she's too tired to cook, and she's too satisfied and she's like grinning from ear to ear because everyone was happy, and she actually relishing more happiness than anybody, and she didn't eat a drop of food. Quote unquote, the traditional Indian housewife who had so much prem bhav for serving, this vatsalya, this affection. So that happiness, and although we're not Indian housewives, we've experienced that in Krishna consciousness, that of serving the Sunday feast, and actually we understand that actually there's much more happiness in serving than there is in enjoying. And it's tangible, it's direct. No one has to tell me about it, or do you feel good, or did you eat enough? You happy? When you ate enough food. I ate enough. No one has to interview you. So that it's a Sunday feast and you're serving the devotees and you're going person to person serving them, and you remember, last week he came, this person, he comes every Sunday, he likes this, and you give him more of that. And you specially serve what they like, and you bring the bucket to them. Like they're just sitting there, they're not even asking for anything, but this guy likes the cheese out of the cheese sabji and he doesn't like the sabji. So you come right up to him and you take a spoonful of cheese and you hold it in front of him and say, sabji? And he looks at you, and he's a karmi, he's coming, congregation. And he looks at you, and then you look at him in the eyes, and he realizes, this guy knows me. And then and he just says, yeah, you know me better than myself. And you just put the cheese on his plate. And he didn't ask for it. You took the bucket and you walked 50 feet down the aisle and stopped in front of him. First you served him, and then you give everybody else. And he said, well, how did you know I wanted more cheese? Because you're operating on the principle of love. Spiritual love for the soul. Because body love means is business. Body love means business. Body love means business, and I have to get a return. I invested $5, I have to get 10 back. This is business. You don't invest $5 and get $2 back. You're out of business. But love business means I'll invest something, but I have to draw a profit. I draw a profit from you. That's called love business, or marriage, or whatever you want to call it. But this is not business. This is Prem Dham Vrindavan, Shri Dham Vrindavan, Prem Dham Vrindavan. So we're hankering or aspiring to enter that land, the land of no return. Business, there's always returns. You have to file your returns also. You have to file your returns for your business, and you have to return and do business life after death, after life after death, after life after death. Samsara chakra, business chakra. In the pursuit of love, we only find distress. So this discussion here is all about this love divine. And this avatar, Gauranga, is the Prem avatar, and he came to initiate the Prem Yuga. In this Kali Yuga, he initiated the Prem Yuga. For 10,000 years, he initiated what they call Prem Yuga, which is based on Prem Nam Sankirtan. Golo Kara Prema Dam Harinam Sankirtan. Golo Kara Prema Dam Harinam Sankirtan. Narottam's bhajan. That he's brought this the Goloka Prema has been brought into this world by Mahaprabhu through the agency of Harinam. So by chanting Harinam, our consciousness becomes pure, and then we understand something of Radha Bhav, by Gauranga's mercy. Then we start to live on the plane of love and start dealing. And like I tell my students, there's 3 principles: is that we should respect everyone, serve everyone, love everyone, right? But you can't do that unless you have spiritual vision, unless you're seeing Krishna in their heart. Respect all, and serve all, and love all. This is some basic things. We were saying, who are I telling this to? Someone was telling me some problems about their family life, as usual. And I said, I said, love means accommodation, not suffocation. You write that down in your little notebook there. You have to, accommodation. Accommodation means room, right? They say, how many accommodations in this hotel, in the Park Royal? Oh, we have 400 accommodations. We have accommodation for 400. What about your marriage hall? Oh, our marriage hall can accommodate 2,000 standing and 3,000 sitting, or whatever. Or the other way around. Yeah, 3,000 standing, 2,000 sitting. So love means accommodation, not suffocation. So they like that. That was it. But most relationships, people become suffocated. So I think we'll have a short kirtan, maybe for 5 minutes, and then any questions?
What is
If anyone has this book, Appreciating Navadvip, there's a prayer here that is given by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who is Lord Chaitanya's eternal associate. And it's on page 32. So this is a wonderful prayer. It's 108 names of Lord Chaitanya. So if you have this book, you can chant sometime during the day this prayer. Then you can receive the benefit of having your pure desires fulfilled. Each and every one of your pure desires. Of course, generally devotee only has one pure desire. We may have many impure desires. But our one pure desire is to serve Guru and Krishna without motivation, without interruption, and with all our life and heart and soul. That's our one desire. Of course, Lord Chaitanya would also play holy, because in the afternoon, this time of day is Madhyan Kal. So our acharyas have given us an understanding of the actual pastimes of Lord Chaitanya during the 8 times of the day. So in the springtime in Braj, from the San Panchami until Purnima, this is the last day of a 40-day festival. 40 days of holy. And of course, 50 years ago in Braj, they used to celebrate Holi for 2 weeks. 2 weeks to 3 weeks. They would celebrate Holi. But now it becomes only 5 days, 6 days. On the 17th was Barsana, then the 18th was Nandagam, And then on the 19th was Ekadasi, they started in Vrindavan. We were in Barsan on the 17th. It was good Holi. A lot of exchange of feelings and reminders of Radharani. And so Mahaprabhu also plays Holi with his associates. They meet in Shiva Sangam in the afternoon, in springtime. And Dhira Damodara starts singing bhajans, or maybe Vasudev Ghosh, beautiful Holi bhajans, which you can also find, written by Vasudev Ghosh and other padakartas. They're writing beautiful bhajans. So they would start singing, playing, they would sing the Sant Rag, the spring rag, and then they would sing about Radharani and the Sakas and Madhumangal, how they would dance and sing and play Holi together, how the Madhumangal would get captured by the gopis, and they would be covered with colors and full of pitchkaris, covered with so much liquid gulal, and then he would run back to the Sakas and say, "Oh Krishna, we should leave from here right away. Look what they've done to me. They've captured me and tortured me with so many colors, and you won't believe how much ammunition they have. They have so many flower arrows and so many flower bombs, because they would make these bombs out of lac. Lac is something, I don't know exactly what it is, something from a tree, I believe. It's like the bark of a tree, it's part of a tree. And they would take this very thin bark of a tree, and then they would make a little ball, and inside the ball they would fill it with chandan, sandalwood powder, and flower pollen, sandalwood powder, camphor, and kumkum inside the ball. And they make these balls like a softball or baseball. These were the flower bombs. And then these were so soft that if you breathed on them, the lac covering was so fragile that if you simply breathe on it, it would dissolve. They would take these balls and throw them in the face or throw them at someone, and they would just, this like feeling a flower was falling on your face, and then all this beautiful fragrant color and fragrance, flower pollen and sandalwood and camphor, and all wonderful things would cover you. Now people throw maida or something, was it maida or something, white flour, rice powder or something, some chemical dyes, and they throw it in your eyes. They're not very nice. But then, so Madhumangal said, "Krishna, you don't believe how many flower bombs they have, how much gulal. They have thousands and thousands of pitchkaris, these syringes. And the gopi syringes, the pitchkaris, were 1 meter long. 1 meter long and 6 inches in diameter. About this big in diameter. So they could fill up about 4 liters of water, and mixed with gulal and roses and other flowers that would be soaking in the water. It was very fragrant and wonderful. And when they shot those pitchkaris, it would go about 10 meters. And they still have some of those pitchkaris. In Nandagal and Varsana, when you go there, the Brahmins, they bring them out from the temple and they shoot everyone with a big size. And they just go so far in the temple. So Madhumangal said, we should get out from here because they have so much that we still have a chance to save our lives if we leave now. So then Krishna says, what are you doing? Be quiet. Whose side are you on anyway, Madhumangal? You come here, you're dancing around and you're glorifying the enemy party. You're saying they have so much weapons, we don't have any weapons, we should leave. They have so many Sakhi soldiers, and they'll defeat us so easily. So this is the original Holi. It was a very wonderful celebration. It went on for 40 days, all over Braj. So Mahaprabhu would sing bhajans about this, about Madhumangal, the Sakhis playing music and dancing and squirting. And then Mahaprabhu, he would hear, and they would start dancing, and then he would enter his mood of Krishna in Vrindavan. And then Gadadhar Pandit, he would enter the mood of Radharani. And then some of the servants, some of the dasas would hand some powders to Gadadhar Pandit and to Mahaprabhu, and they would start putting powders on each other and throwing powders. So Mahaprabhu enacted this festival also, Holi, the Sant Holi. We call this Holi Purnima. This is Holi Purnima or Gaur Purnima. So here, and also, so that's Nitya Leela. It's going on in the spiritual world. Lord Chaitanya is also playing Holi in the Navadvip in the spiritual world, and Radha and Krishna are playing Holi. But at this time, because we want to hear about the pastimes of the Lord, we can hear the description of what the Lord is doing, what Lord Chaitanya is doing right now at this time. Madhyan Kal. There's a nice prayer that's given to us by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Madhyane sahate saparshada gane sankirtan yad idrisham sadvetendu gadadhar kila saha Srilavaduta Prabhu. It says, Arame mridu amarutesh shishiritar bringadvijar nadite swam vrindavipinam smaran brahmatiyas tam gora madhyayaham. He says, translation, Lord Gaurachandra continues to enjoy the performance of his morning pastimes of intensely enthusiastic chanting and dancing, surrounded by his own dear devotees, like Advaita Charya, Gadadhar Pandit, Avadut Nityananda, and then afterwards they wander through the gardens and groves on the bank of the Ganges, where they enjoy sweet cooling breezes blowing over the river. Hearing the pleasant sounds of the birds and bees in those gardens, the Lord remembers his ecstatic pastimes as Radha and Krishna, which are occurring simultaneously in his own forest of Vrindavan. I meditate thus on the daily pastimes of Lord Gauranga. So that's a mantra that gives a brief explanation. And there's a more detailed description of Madhyan Leela from 10:48 in the morning until 3:36 in the afternoon. Just as Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan spend their time at Radhakund at this time. So Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he also enacts his pastimes with his associates in the gardens, in the Nikunj of Navadvip. Lord Gaurachandra's flower garden is surrounded on all sides by tall kadamba trees, which are embraced by Madhavi and Malati vines. There are thorny bushes with big thorns, lying on the ground between these trees, which prevent the common people from entering. It becomes like a wall, a natural wall made of thorn trees. A pleasant south wind blows, carrying fragrant flower pollen. Jeweled pathways extend in 4 directions. The forest blooms with jasmine flowers, gardenias, red amarnath, malika, juti, roses, white lilies, yellow magnolias, and bakul flowers. Many enchanting jeweled altars stand under the trees, forming natural umbrellas above them. So underneath the trees, just like you go to Vrindavan, you see underneath the trees there's cement platform, some small mandala, like a mandala, small platform. But in Nitya Vrindavan or Nitya Navadvip, underneath the trees there's beautiful platforms made of jewels. And the trees are leaning over in such a way they become a natural umbrella or canopy. And this is also seen even in Vrindavan now. If you go to the ISKCON Dangati Palace, you'll see an incredible phenomenon. There was some trees growing there, growing straight in their natural pattern. So the devotee there, Gaur Narayan, he cleaned the area and found so many Govardhan Shilas when he was cleaning the gardens, big Govardhan Shilas, because it's right next to Govardhan Hill, ISKCON Dangati. And he decided to put them under one tree. So he put them under this one tree on a platform. And what he noticed over the next few months is that tree, although the branches were growing in a certain way, all the branches on that tree started to come out on the same side where the Shilas were. And the branches started to bend down and form a natural umbrella over the Shilas. Very extraordinary. Very, very extraordinary. Because the branches were growing like this, normal, branches like that, on one side towards the sun, because there was another tree next to it. So what happened is that the branches on the other side, which were above, there were no branches, but where the Govardhan Shilas were, all these branches started to come out and lean down to cover over the Govardhan Shilas, just like we have a Shingasan, we have a roof, or what we call canopy, to protect the deities. So Govardhan Shilas are not different from Krishna, Giridhari. So the tree, that Kalpavriksha tree in Vrindavan is understanding, Krishna has taken shelter under my tree, under me. I should provide some nice canopy for him, some nice covering. So the branches grew in a very unusual way. So this is something to see when you go there, to ask them to see that they're not only growing like this, but they're leaning over. They're specifically going down like this to make just like an umbrella. You saw. So here's a witness. So in the same way, in Nityanavadvip, the tree branches are growing down to form natural canopies over these jeweled basins, or these jewel platforms. There are banana groves and fruit-filled coconut trees and countless other trees defying the description, standing everywhere. All the fruit trees and flower trees are so full of fruits that their branches are bending down to touch the ground. Pomegranates are bursting and soaking the ground with their juice. Besides a lake in the center of that garden is a colorful golden temple. There are crystal steps which form the landing and the steps going down to that lake. And there are beautiful flower beds of malika and champak surrounding the lake. This is the same as the description of Radhakund. So there's also a kund or a lake there in Navadvip. Full-blooming red, white, and blue lotuses gently sway amidst the lake's ripples, being moved by a soft breeze. Greedy for honey, millions of bees, birds, and other birds playfully sport in all directions. Hundreds of aquatic species are moving unseen under the water. The golden complexioned Lord Gauranga sits on a golden altar in the temple. He's trembling and crying tears of prema. Gaura's associates sit around him. And many pet deer come with expanded eyes upon seeing the beauty of Lord Gaurahari's face. And the peacocks respond by dancing jubilantly. In this particular forest, all the 6 seasons are serving the Lord one by one. Gaurasundar remembers Braj Leela. When the parrots start singing in the trees the parrots start singing, and they start singing about Radha and Krishna, and the pastimes that they perform at Radhakund at the same time. And when Lord Gauranga hears those songs, he remembers Radha and Krishna and Vrindavan. And then he said, then in the mood of Vrindavan, Lord Gauranga calls out, "Who has stolen my flute? Who has stolen my flute?" Because in Radhakund, in Krishna Lila, Radharani, when Krishna is sleeping, she steals Krishna's flute. That's why she's known as Vamshi Chodi or Bansiwari, and she steals. She gets the flute. She catches Krishna's flute and passes it on to other Vamsi Chodi. Thief steals the flute. So then he says, "Who has stolen my flute?" And Gaurasundara says, "Just see, I have defeated you at dice," because sometimes they play this, it's like a type of dice, it's actually a board, it's called Pashakela. It's a board game that Radha and Krishna play at Shamakund. Nearby Shamakund, there's one place, Sudevi's Kund, where they play this. The dice they have, the dice are actually marble, pieces of marble, they're long type, and they throw the dice. So you can see what is forbidden in this realm. Well, we can't gamble, there's no gambling, no intoxication, no stealing. But in Krishna's stealing, Krishna's gambling, Krishna's running here. We're not allowed to run around with any ladies. But Krishna's running around with so many gopis, around and around in the rasa dance. He's dancing. And we're not allowed to steal, we can't steal, we go to jail. Krishna's makanchor. He's glorified for his stealing. And we can't, there's no gambling, no intoxication, no gambling, no mental speculation or whatever. We say no gambling. That means no lottery, no playing cards, which is a very big pastime in India, especially among the Brahmins. The Brahmins, when Thakurji goes to sleep in the temple, then the Brahmins go out front of the temple and play cards. For money also. You see in Gokul and Nandagal, they're playing cards. This is how they pass the slow days of winter. The slow days of winter they spend playing cards and gambling, putting their donations up for the wager. So Lord Gaurasundara, he's remembering, oh yes. So he says, "Just see, I defeated you at dice." Of course, Krishna never defeats Radharani at dice. She always defeats him. But he tries to cheat and stand up and say, "Look, I defeated you." But then there's, of course, a game board. There's a referee. a game board supervisor, Kundalata, who's an elderly Saki who's respected by Radha and Krishna and everyone. She says, no, you're lying, Krishna. She defeated you every time. So Mahaprabhu is remembering that. Then the next moment he says, let's have Jal Keli. Let's sport in this kund. Then he says, come on, let's go perform Surya Puja. So then Gauranga begins walking, holding Gadadhar's hand. Thus Gaurachandra plays with his devotees in the flower garden. They adorn Mahaprabhu with flower armlets, necklaces, and tie flowers of bokul in his hair. Then the Lord sports in the cool shade under each and every tree. They dance, clap their hands in time, and make sweet music with mridangas and veenas. This farce is the same as Vrindavan in sweetness. But it is impossible to describe Gaurasundar's limitless farce pastimes. Lord Gauranga takes a tour. He starts wandering through the forest of Nadia, just as Radha and Krishna wander through the different forests of around Radhakund. Gadadhar reminds Gauranga that Sachimata is keeping many foodstuffs for him and anxiously waiting for him to return. Ornamented on either side by Nityananda Prabhu and Gadadhar, and followed by blissful devotees, Lord Gauranga returns on the footpath to Nadia and pleases all the townspeople with his enchanting beauty. That's Aparana Lila. That's 336. He's returning to his home, just as Krishna returns to Nandagaon with his cows and cowherd boys. So Lord Chaitanya returns to his home with all of his associates. Appearing like the trunks of elephants, Gauranga's long arms swing back and forth as he walks. Gaurahari's wavy locks are swinging like a swarm of bumblebees. They're so lovely that they mesmerize the entire universe. And his hair is tied with the shyness of all the young girls of Nadia. Fixing the flower arrows of his restless eyes upon the bow of his eyebrows, Lord Gaurarai instantly pierced the hearts of the women folk by his mere glances. The smile of Gaurachandra's moon-like face emanates rays of sweet ambrosia, Amrit, which makes the chakora birds of the women's hearts greedily fly up to taste it. Gaurahari's powerful neck and waist conquer that of a lion, a very small waist. Pearl necklaces and jasmine garlands sway in his broad chest. Malayan sandalwood paste adorns his arms and limbs. These enrapturing features of Gaurasundar are attractive to everyone in the whole universe. So, this is some description of what Lord Chaitanya is doing just at this time. Sometimes we want to hear just some of the Leelas when Lord Chaitanya was a child. So we'll start off with this Valya Leela. Sachimata would teach Gaurasundar how to walk by holding him by the finger. Nimai would sometimes fall down as he tried to walk along, but then Sachimata would pick him up and place him on her lap and shower him with kisses. While lying in his mother's loving lap, Gaurachandra would move his beautiful legs and make his golden ankle bells chime sweetly. Sometimes Nimai would suck milk from his mother's full breast. Every morning all the ladies of Nadia would come to Mother Shachi's house, and they would leave their own sons uncared for in their homes and run to see Gaurahari. They could not start their day without the darshan of the sweet lotus face of Gaurachandra. Every day they went, impulsively and spontaneously, to see Nimai. Somehow they managed to pass the nights in their own houses, but at daybreak they would collect many food items and rush to Nimai's house. They would come before Nimai and say, Nimai, if you dance nicely, we will give you a reward with this kheer and rasgullas and sweet rice. So they would clap their hands, and he would dance for them, and then he would get all these nice sweets. Sachimata's heart would bloom with happiness as she gazed upon Nimai's moonlight face. The pastimes that Lord Chaitanya enjoyed in Jagannath Misha's house are just like the pastimes that Gopal Krishna enjoyed in the house of Yashoda. Nanda and Yashoda. It says Gopal Krishna here. It means Krishna when his bal small. When no one was home, when his mother and father were not home, then Nimai would go into the kitchen and take the wheat and dal and rice and scatter it here and there and throw it all over the room. Then he would break the pots of milk and yogurt and throw oil, milk, whey and ghee all over the walls. Then when his elder brother Vishwarup said, "Hey, Nimai, Mother Sachi's coming," then Nimai would fall to the ground and start crying as if he was frightened by something. Oh, Sachi, oh Mata, oh Janani. Then Sachi Mata, hearing her son crying, would run into the house. She'd say, "Hari, Hari," because this is the system in Indian culture, at least in old days, is that if there was any calamity or any difficulty, immediately people took shelter of Nam Ashraya. Because this is the only shelter. God is the only shelter, and He appears as His name. So people understand that. So therefore, when Lord Chaitanya appeared and it was a lunar eclipse, everybody who's in the Ganges taking shelter of the name, Nam Ashraya. Hari, Hari, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So the same way, in a family situation, at least in the village, if any calamity or accident or something happened to their child, immediately the mother would invoke auspiciousness. She would invoke auspiciousness by chanting, Hari, Hari. The West, they do the same thing. The same phenomenon is there. What do they do in the West? When a mother, if the child is crying, I've seen so many times.
Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govinda Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govinda Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venu Parmata Maravinda Yathaksham Bhagavatam Samasitam Buddhasundaranga Kandharva Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govinda Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ankaniyasya Sakle Triyavriti Manti Pashanti Panti Karanti Chiram Jaganti Adhikam Chintaya Asadu Vigrahasya Govinda Adi Purusha Tamaham Bhajami Govinda Adi Purusha Tamaham Bhajami
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya
Namaste Saraswate Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Namaste Krishna Chaitanya Guru Nityananda Damodara Shiva Chadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Damodara Shiva Chadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadara Shiva Chadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Amrita Keli Ramba Kirashara সারপুরে লাডু রসবালি ভোজন করে না কৃষ্ণ হয়ে কুতূহলী রাধিকারা পাকায়ানা বিবিধ ব্যঞ্জন পরমানন্দে কৃষ্ণ করে না বোঝান চালে বালে লাডু খাই শ্রীমধু মঙ্গল বগল বজায় দেয় হরি বল রাধিকারে গানে হেরি নয়নের কোণে তৃপ্ত হয়ে খায় কৃষ্ণ যশোদা ভবানী ভোজনন্দে প্রিয় কৃষ্ণ সুবাসিত বারি সবে মুখ প্রকালয় হরে সরি সরি আস্ত মুখ প্রকালিয়া যত সক গানে আনন্দে বিশ্রাম করে বলদেব সানে জাম্বুল রসালানে তাম্বুল মশালা তাহাকে কৃষ্ণচন্দ্র সুখে নিদ্রা বিশালাকাশী কি পুছা ছামার দুলায়া অপূর্ব সয়ায় কৃষ্ণ সুখে নিরয়ায় যশোমতি অঙ্গ প্রিয় ধনিষ্ঠয়নীত শ্রীকৃষ্ণ প্রসাদ রাধা কুঞ্জে হয়ে প্রীত ললিতারি সাক্ষী গণ অবশেষ পায়া মনে মনে সুখে রাধা কৃষ্ণ গুণ গায় হরি লীলা একমাত্র যাহার প্রমোদ ভোগারতি গায় ঠাকুর ভক্তি বিনোদ কত বৎসল শ্রী গৌর হরি ভজ কত বৎসল শ্রী গৌর হরি শ্রী গৌর হরি সহি গোষ্ঠ বিহারী শ্রী গৌর হরি সহি গোষ্ঠ বিহারী নন্দ যশোমতি চিত হরি নন্দ যশোমতি চিত হরি ভজ গোবিন্দ গোবিন্দ গোপাল Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gai Gora Madhur Sare, Gai Gora Madhur Sare, Gai Gora Madhur Sare, Gai Gora Madhur Sare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Gai Gora Madhur Sare,
Gai Gora Madhur Sare,
Gai Gora Madhur Sare.
Gai Gora Madhur Sare.
Grihe thako, bone thako, sada hari bole দেখো গৃহে থাকো বনে থাকো সদা হরি বলে দেখো গৃহে থাকো বনে থাকো সদা হরি বলে দেখো গৃহে থাকো বনে থাকো সদা হরি বলে দেখো সুখে দুঃখে ভুলো না খো বদনে হরি নাম করো রে সুখে দুঃখে ভুলো না খো বদনে হরি নাম করো রে গায় গোরা মধুস্বরে গায় গোরা মধুস্বরে মায়া জলে পদ হয়ে আচমিছে কাজলয়ে 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 এখন আছে ধনা পেয়ে রাধা মাধব নাম বলো রে এখন আছে ধনা পেয়ে রাধা মাধব নাম বলো রে গায় গোরা মধুস্বরে গায় গোরা মধুস্বরে জীবন হইল শেষ না বজিলে ঋষিকে জীবন হইল শেষ না বজিলে ঋষিকে জীবন হইল শেষ না বজিলে ঋষিকে জীবন হইল শেষ না বজিলে विनोद उपदेश एक बार नाम रसे मतोरे भक्ति विनोद उपदेश एक बार नाम रसे मतोरे गाय गौरम मधुस्वरे गाय गौरम मधुस्वरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गाय गौरम मधुस्वरे गाय गौरम मधुस्वरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Radhe Jayo Krishna Jayo Vrindavana Sri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Kalindi Jamuna Jayo Jayo Mahavan Keshi Gata Banshi Bata Raja Shakanana Jaha Shabalila Toilo Sri Nanda Nanda Sri Nanda Jasoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Sri Damadi Jaya Jaya Denu Vatsagan Sri Nanda Jasoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Sri Damadi Jaya Vrishabhanu Jaya Kirtira Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Abhira Nagari Jaya Jaya Gopishara Vrindavanamad Jaya Jaya Krishna Sakha Batu Dijara Jaya Jaya Gopishara Vrindavanamad Jaya Jaya Krishna Bhakta Jan.
Jaya Ram Tata Jaya Rohini Nandana Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Vasi Jata
Jaya Dvija Patni Jaya Naga Kanyaga Bhakti Dhira Bailo Govinda Charan.
Jaya Krishna Bhakti Jaya Naga Kanyaga Bhakti Teja Bhara Bailo Govinda Charan.
Sirasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyama Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarva Manoram.
Srirasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyama Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarva Manoram.
Jaya Jaya Jala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sar Parakiya Bhave Jahan Brajete Prachar.
Jaya Jaya Jala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sar Parakiya Bhave Jahan Brajete Prachar.
Srijana Vapada Padma Koriya Smarana Dina Krishna Dasa Kori Nama Sankirtan.
Sridhana Vajana Padma Koriya Smarana Dina Krishna Dasa Kori Nama Sankirtan.
Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Sri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan.
Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare नवगौरवरं नवपुष्पसरं नवभावधरं नवलस्यपरं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं नवगौरवरं नवपुष्पसरं नवभावधरं नवलास्यपरं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरम् नवप्रेमयुतं नवनीतशुचं नववेशकृतं नवप्रेमरसं नवधाविलसशुभप्रेम.
Hare Krishna, wishing you all a very happy Gaur Purnima. Today, Gurudev's class onwards, we will be live on Zoom. So everybody can join in the Gaur Purnima celebrations on Zoom with us. 11 a.m. onwards, it will be live on Zoom. Hare Krishna.